Hi, welcome to another Teleios SMS SDK presentation. In this presentation, we'll see how we can extend an existing website to utilize the SMS SDK to broadcast messages to subscribers. Alright, let's take a look at our website. This website presents status updates of animals in a zoo. Notice we have a lion, a tiger, a bear, and a ewe. And as you can see, the states for each animal rotates between stuff like contented to happy, excited, and groovy. So let's take a look at a website that produces this. It's built in ASP.NET version 4, and it's essentially a really basic website, just has one web page on it. I use jQuery to provide the update without refreshing the page. That default page just has basic HTML and some CSS. All of this you'll see when you download the solution yourself. For the actual animals, the animals randomly change their status, and whenever a call is made to the relevant web service, it provides the update to the animal's current status. The web service here is called the zoo, and if we look into its service definition class, you'll see it just has a list of animals, and when getUpdate is called, it returns that list of animals to the caller. And that's essentially the web service. If we take a look at the definition of an animal, we'll see it has a few class properties, name and state, and an event. And we'll see how the event is useful to us a bit later on. So a very basic implementation of an entity that can change state and provide an update to a website, this website. So what we want to do is whenever the state changes, broadcast that change via SMS. Now, the Teleios SMS SDK is an HTTP-based SDK that utilizes our web service to allow callers to use HTTP to send out traffic that will eventually become SMS traffic. We abstract away the details of making connections to carriers and managing those connections, and provide a pretty common HTTP interface for that purpose. So, to wire into this website, we can use the SMS SDK. I've already downloaded mine, and you can download it at codejam.teleios-systems.com in the resources section. Okay, so firstly I need to add a reference to the relevant DLLs of the SDK. I downloaded mine and I placed it in my downloads folder. Here we'd go to the SMS Platform SDK, and we've provided the actual Visual Studio solution if you wanted to use the solution itself. And in the bin folder of the solution, I find the relevant DLLs. There's a standard DLL that contains the message types, and other utilities are found in the SMS Platform SDK DLL. So adding those references starts us off in the process to getting access to the features of the SDK. Now, remember I showed you that the animal class has an event called state change. So we're going to wire up to that now, very simply. For each animal, we're going to attach to that animal state change event. And what we're going to do is just send a text message containing the animal's name and the state it currently has. So that would be, let's define that first. String so I'm using the properties of the event args. Great, so that's our message that'll be sent out via text. To send out a message, we're going to use an object called the SMS sender object, which is part of the SDK. I do this, notice Visual Studio helps me, and I'm using Visual Studio 2010 here. He's helping me because that, and he doesn't quite know where to find that, but he's suggesting it's available in an assembly I haven't specified yet. So saying use, indicating I'm going to use it, now allows it to recognize where that entity where that object comes from. Well, that class, sorry, comes from. Notice it's asking for a URI. Let's take a bit to talk about this URI. For this example, the URI will be pointing to the Teleios SMS SDK emulator. The emulator acts like our production push service, which receives messages and then sends them out via SMS. This emulator will run on this client machine. I haven't yet gotten the URL of it, so for now I'll just use a filler value. We'll get it in a short while. Alright, so as the sender is set up. The sender, if you would have type out send and type send, you see this overloaded method allows you to send a bulk text message, multiple text message, and a single text message. These different kinds of text messages are described in our documentation, and you can use them as per your requirements. Since we're sending out a single text message, just for demonstration here, we're going to use that class. Alright, so let's go ahead and create a single text message. So this single text message comes from the message types class library. The single text message has some constructors that help us out, and the one we care about is the one that lets us define the source, destination, and message text. As you'll see, these types, well, two of these types are MS ISDNs. So let's go ahead and create those for source and destination. You don't have to use meaningful values for these messages, as they're just for these objects, as they're only going to be hitting our emulator running on this computer. Select the destination. Alright, and now we have a message already in place. So now we can then fill out this single text message with the source, destination, and animal state. Great, we're almost there. Now with this, we can say SMS sender.send single, and we can just use some demo values here because it's not going to our production per service, and that's almost all. Notice URL is still left out. Let's go run the emulator. So when I downloaded the SDK, in the SDK with these three folders, I'm going to the emulator folder. And to find out the URL the emulator runs on, you can use the emulator.exe.config file. Here you see there's something called a property called SMS push service.address. That's the address we care about. Alright, so now we can fill in the URL to that particular address. Now I can rebuild my website, and it's built successfully. And then when I run my emulator, I make sure you run it such that if you're using Vista or Windows 7, you run it as admin. So if I show my incoming messages, you see here these messages are what is being updated at the website. So here we have the website publishing state changes, and these state changes are now being shown via the emulator. So that's it. Very, very briefly, how we can enable SMS publishing from a website using the Teleios SMS SDK. I hope this was helpful to you. If you have any questions, feel free to send it to us at codejam@teleios-systems.com, or you can check out our Facebook page, which is Teleios Code Jam. Thanks so much.